Today I am going to show you how to draw a mouth. I will be doing this in graphite, but the tips that I'm going to give you will apply to any medium. Hi, I'm Lisa, the artist behind Lachri Fine Art. So far, I've shown you how to draw eyes and a nose, so now we are moving on to a mouth. The first part of the demonstration is showing you how to draw a mouth for a man or a child, focusing on some of the things that you need to watch out for to avoid making them look too feminine. The last part of the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to take that same mouth, and by making a few adjustments, you end up with a very feminine mouth. For those of you who are supporters over on Patreon, I have the 30-minute real-time version of this tutorial available for you guys now, so make sure to head over and check that out. Now let's get on to the tutorial. Getting started, I have a very light outline for the lips. Before I start shading, I erase that outer edge. The number one mistake that I see artists make when they draw lips is to put a harsh outline around the lips. The only time that you will have a definite outline is if a woman is wearing heavy, dark lipstick. Even then, you'll normally have a bit of feathering along the edge. For men, children, or women not wearing heavy lipstick, that outer edge all the way around the mouth needs to be pretty soft. Notice how sketchy I've kept that edge. The next thing to watch for is that the lips aren't too dark in general. The lips normally will be just a couple of shades darker than the rest of the skin on the face. Normally, I'm a huge fan of contrast, but make sure that you don't overdo it when painting or drawing lips. Getting lips on a child or a man too saturated in color, or if you're working in graphite, just having them too dark, can make the entire portrait look really weird. The heaviest, most defined line on the lips will be the line between the upper and lower lips. There are a couple of things to notice about that line. First, it is not straight. Cartoons have straight lines. People have curves, waves, and ridges where the lips meet. Pay close attention to your model here and how that line is actually formed. Second, it isn't just one dark line. It's darkest in the center, but it fades out into both the upper and lower lips. Ignoring either of these points will make your work look flat. We want to create dimension here, so it's important to have both the shape and the shadows just right. While this next tip will vary slightly depending on your model and your light source, the upper lip will almost always be darker than your lower lip. This is because the upper lip is angled down on most people, casting it in shadow, whereas the larger lip is catching more light. This also means that you're going to have a heavier shadow underneath the lower lip, where the skin above the upper lip tends to be quite a bit lighter. Like everything though, there are going to be exceptions to this, so pay very close attention to your specific model and the lighting on him or her. Another important thing to note is the creases in the lips. These are not just random straight lines all over the place. Just like I always say when drawing hair or fur, follow the direction of those curves. And they are curves. None of these lines are straight. These lines will not be the same on both sides of the mouth. Notice how they tend to curve out away from the center on both sides. If you paint or draw these lines all going in the same direction across the entire lip, you're going to have what looks more like a candy cane, and it will look very unnatural. So always pay close attention to your model or your reference photo. I like to build up my paintings or drawings slowly, in layers. I start off much lighter than I'm going to need to be in the end, because it's always easier to darken something up than to go back and try to lighten something up that you made too dark. You can really start to see now where that center heavier line that I was talking about earlier, where the lips meet, is starting to fade away from its darkest point in the center to lighter as it moves out. When I draw those creases in the lips, I want them to vary from really soft portions to more defined lines. As I work, I start with harsher lines and then blend those out a bit. Then I add more harsh lines on top of that, then blend those out a bit, which softens those first set of lines even more. Then towards the end, I have a few more harsher lines in there, those creases that are done much more sparingly, but having this variation in there where some are much softer and some are harsher, I have a much more natural feel this way. It may seem like I'm just undoing and losing all the detail I put earlier, but that's not really what's happening there. I'm just softening those previous layers of lines so that I do have that natural look. Once I have everything pretty well mapped out as far as where my shadows and details go, I can start hyping up my contrast a bit. It's so important to be really careful though and not overdo this, or we risk turning this man's lips into a lady's. Here is another big tip for you guys. Notice that I've got a bit of a highlight on the skin outlining the upper lip and a shadow underneath the lower lip. Missing these highlights and shadows on the skin around the lips will make your lips look totally flat against the skin, so definitely watch out for that. Here we can see the finished man's lips. Now I'm going to show you how easily and how quickly you can accidentally turn this man's lips into a woman's if you're not careful. It took me about 2 extra minutes in real time to do this. See how fast things can go wrong if you're wanting to keep your lips more masculine. All I have to do to make these lips look more like a woman wearing lipstick is to better define my edges and darken up the lips some. And that is it for this demonstration. I hope these little tips helped you guys out in your future portraits. Thanks for watching. Again, if you're supporters over on Patreon, the 30-minute version of this tutorial in real time is available for you guys now, so make sure to head over and check that out. If you're new to my channel, I have new video critiques every Tuesday where I'm critiquing your original paintings or drawings, my own speed paintings, drawings, and tutorials every Wednesday, social media tips for artists each Thursday, and artist vlogs every weekend. So if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Google+, all those social media sites. Links are below in the video description where you can keep up with news, my newest work, and see real-time clips of whatever it is I'm currently working on. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the social media vlog. This is kind of entertaining because it makes my face look all skewed. I'm having way too much fun with this. I wish these were my lips. My lips are not that full. Oh wait, if I tilt this back. There we go. Kind of like my mouth. I need to get away from the studio more. I'm having way too much fun with these lips. Smile, we're drawing a mouth today. So cheesy. Next week's video, I'm doing a full portrait in colored pencil, and I'm going to put the lesson we've learned on these lips to use in that. Yay! It is too early, and I have not had enough caffeine to be recording these videos today. Yep, I'm done.